Hello, good evening and welcome back once again to In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post in association with Coral. A very, very, very warm welcome back. If you are sat indoors watching this, then it's probably to escape the sun. It's baking hot outside, and hopefully we'll have some red-hot action over 2 days as well as we return from a month off to bring you all the ups and downs on Epsom Downs with the Oaks and the Derby, of course, two classic races to get well and truly stuck into. With a couple of red-hot favourites as well. Could it be as easy as Emily Upjohn and Desert Crown double? Well, we'll soon find out. I very much doubt our top tipsters will be going down that road, but who knows? We've been surprised before. But we'll be having a look at Friday's action, of course, throughout this evening. And then we'll be back tomorrow to get stuck into the Derby. But it is Gosden versus Gosden at the top of the market for the Oaks tomorrow. Emily Upjohn versus Nashwa. We've got the Coronation Cup as well. The Poundland Surrey Stakes, which sounds like an insult, but is actually the real sponsor. A few handicaps as well. And the Woodcut Stakes. We might get a pin or two, Bo, but more often than not, we don't. But it could be an interesting little race. Very open and competitive, that juvenile contest to kick proceedings off tomorrow. Live and interactive, as ever, on YouTube and on Facebook as well. If you haven't already, like the stream, subscribe to the stream, get involved, get those algorithms working for us, and also get your selections and thoughts and feelings on that live chat box on YouTube as well. And we'll try and squeeze in as many as we can as the evening progresses. But my name's Ross Brierley, and nice to be back in an air-conditioned studio. We might be crowning the Queen of Epsom, but we've got the King of Tipsters, well, one of them anyway, in the studio this afternoon. It is, of course, the one and only Mr. Paul Kealy.
One of them. Yeah, I had a winner today, first one in ages.
There you go. You've just been waiting for the Jubilee, mate.
I have, yeah. Yes, hopefully we head into June now and have a really good month. Well, that's becoming one of my favourites, and obviously this meeting's brilliant as well. And the fields have held up really well, almost all races for the whole 2 days.
Yeah, there's not a single one where you look at it and think, I'm not sure about that. Everything's got a nice feel to it. You've got
I mean, you might only have 6 runners in the Coronation Cup, but it's actually a really tight little heat, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? You couldn't with any confidence name the winner. So yeah, it's all good stuff.
Apart from Pallavicino, yeah, everyone deserves to be there, doesn't it? Maybe that's a bit harsh on Pallavicino, to be fair. You pay your entry fee, you take your chance, I guess. But we've got one of the king of tipsters, of course, because the crown is shared by Tom Segal, but he keeps his in a glass cabinet at home.
Here I am in the cabinet, as they say, Ross. Yeah, looking good. You're looking forward to it. Epsom's going to be great.
Yeah, it is. How have you got into the flat season? Of course, we're getting to not far off the point of the season where there's 7,500 races a day to monitor, Tom.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me, Ross. I only watch the good stuff anyway, so I mean, I couldn't tell you what was going on today, for example. It's not in my remit to look at that sort of stuff. So I'll be looking at the good races as I've always done. So you can have your 7,000. I'll be looking at about 1,000 of them. Okay. That'll do for me.
Yeah, just the 1,000. Yeah, that's enough. Sorting the wheat from the chaff. Have you confident about taking on the hot favourites in the classics?
I'm not confident. No, they're clearly, they're unbeaten horses, aren't they? From top yards, who could be extra special. I'm not confident about taking them on, but I do think I will take them on simply because they're, the Derby and the Oaks have come very early in the season. We don't actually know the pecking order. We think we know the pecking order, but we don't. And every year something can come out of the woodwork, as they've done often in the past. I'm hoping I'll be able to find one of them this year.
Well, fingers crossed, and fingers crossed at a nice price as well. Fingers crossed we might get a nice price boost or two from Mr. David Stevens. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Ross. Good evening, gentlemen. Yeah, great to be here. It seems like a long time since we've all been together. I don't know if it is or whether that's just because I'm getting old.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's a bit of both, really, mate, if I'm honest.
Yes, some would say that it's not been long enough since we all got together, but anyway, we'll move on.
Yeah, we apparently we only do classics these days. I think it was Newmarket, wasn't it, last time we were on? But it's starting to hot up. We're just conserving our energy for the Ascots and the Goodwoods of this world, I think.
Yes, big summer. No doubt the weather will be a talking point, and I've been following the forecast for the next 2 days all week, and genuinely, who would be a clerk of the course? I mean, lots of issues around abandonments, but the forecast for Epsom on Saturday has changed twice a day, every single day this week. So still have no idea what's going to happen there. So no doubt we'll be taking the ground into consideration.
Yeah, well, it's always the way, isn't it? Always the way. You think you can get away with it during the summer, but this is, of course, Britain after all. So we've got like I said, the Derby and the Oaks. Will you be taking the market principles on, you reckon, Keels?
Definitely in the Oaks. Not so sure about the Derby.
Okay.
Definitely in the Oaks. Yeah.
Lovely.
I think it's far more open than the betting suggests.
Yeah. Okay. Just the two races as a whole, Keels. I mean, obviously there's constant headlines at the moment. The Derby, has it lost its lustre? Is it everyone's going towards speed? Is it the race it used to be? But again, we could have if we have a genuinely top class winner this year, will that change things?
Well, I mean, I don't see what the problem is. I mean, sometimes you get good winners of these classics, sometimes you don't, do you? I mean, Adeo was a good winner last year, wasn't he? So we just have to wait and see, don't we? I mean, they never, it's rare that the best middle distance performer of the season from a 3-year-old comes in the Derby anyway, is it? Because they're still improving their young horses. But
it's still it's very early in their careers, isn't it?
Of course it is. I mean, the favourites run twice.
Yeah.
So there's plenty. There's plenty of water to flow under the bridge until we really know. But I mean, I think on paper it's a decent enough race.
Okay, well, we'll see if we get impressive winners of the Oaks and the Derby. Good evening to everyone watching at home. Tom Leach, Matthew James, Super Will. We've got Dante 44 as well, Tony Wells, and Blah Blah as well. Nearly read that one out, but a couple of the usernames maybe a little bit later on in the evening, perhaps. But let's get stuck into the cars at Epsom then on Friday afternoon, starting off with the Woodcut Stakes. Again, we had Pinatubo win this a few years ago. Of course, Boratino went on to win the commentary after this as well. On paper, looks like it's a little bit more quantity over quality in theory for this year's race, but they are two-year-olds. They can surprise us. Commander Straker is the favourite at 4-1. Keep Bidding 9-2. Estate 11-2. Silencer 11-2. Legend of Xanadu 13-2. Blatant is 7-1. Self Praise 8-1. Shandy Star 11s, and bigger prices the rest. And there haven't been too many obvious superstar potentials thrown down in the juvenile ranks so far, Keel. So it's no surprise to see plenty of yards chancing their hand.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's quite a valuable race for just a conditions race, isn't it? I mean, there's no status attached. It used to be listed, obviously, a while ago, but I mean, this sort of field is one of the reasons it no longer is, I think, because it doesn't look the strongest race on paper. All the winners have run at least 3 times, and not one of them has burst an RPR of 90. So I don't think we're looking at a pretty good race. And that led me to believe that I'm going for one of the less experienced ones that's going to improve in a big way from that first start. And I came down to Keep Bidding, which I think is going to be fairly popular on this show. She made a debut at Nottingham, which is quite a decent course to bring out a 2-year-old in, and didn't really know her job early doors, and she got beat by a horse who cost her a fair bit at the Breeze Ups and did know her job. But just in the last 100 yards, she started to get the message, and the last 100 yards was by far the most impressive, and I got the impression that she's just miles better than that. And I had a look because Rafe Beckett doesn't have that many early 2-year-olds.
No.
And I had a look. He's run 3 since 2014 with a first run at Nottingham. Two of them ended up running in group races. One of them just got touched off in the Albany at Royal Ascot. So interesting that she ran there, and she ran really well. And the level of her form as well. It's pretty good on RPRs. Given the fact that she's getting £10 off the winners, she's right up there. She doesn't actually need to improve much. These 2-year-olds could improve by 10, 15, 20 pounds on their first start, can't they? Yeah. If she does that, I think she'll win easily. But she's still got to handle the track, so I'm not going to go mad on a punting point of view. But I think, even she was a bigger price earlier on in the afternoon, but I think even at 4-1, I think it's fair.
Okay, Keep Bidding then is in fact 9-2 up on the screen there. Whether she still is 9-2 or not, David Stevens will tell us in a second, but perhaps not. Mainly due to Keels, but perhaps due to Tom as well. No great surprise to see a bit of money coming for something out of the box a little bit, Tom. Especially as Commander Straker, Silencer, Estate, and Legend of Xanadu, who were the ones who were making up the market to begin with, all drawn out very wide, and 6 furlongs, 2-year-olds around Epsom can go very wrong very early from a double-figure draw.
Can do. They've all got a bit of experience, though, haven't they? So wouldn't necessarily count that against them. The only thing they've got, though, is penalties. Every single one of them won. They've not shown that they're good 2-year-olds, but they're not brilliant 2-year-olds. And they've all got penalties, and they've got to give £10 to Keep Bidding and 7 or whatever it is to Richard Hammond's horse Silencer. I thought those two stood out, actually. I don't think the level of the winners is brilliant. As I say, they've got penalties, and I thought Keep Bidding's time was pretty good at Nottingham, considering she got trapped in behind a bit and was a bit ring rash. She's very weak in the market. That's slightly concerning, because I thought if she'd shown an awful lot, she wouldn't have started 28-1 on her debut. You know, Rafe Beckett, 2-year-old, starting 28-1 at Nottingham doesn't suggest she'd been showing much. So she's hopefully come on a lot for that. If she has, I think I'm with Keels. I think she's got a massive chance. The time was good. I think the form's pretty good. She'll definitely stay 6 furlongs. I think if there's some give in the ground, that'll be a massive help for her. I'm not sure what the ground's going to be, but I don't think it'll be quick tomorrow. Any give in the ground will help her. Her sire is Ribchester, who we all know his progeny like a bit of cut, and his dam Coolfinch was pretty good sprinter in soft ground. So I think she'll love any give in the ground. Like Keels, I thought, getting the weight, and with her potential, I think she's going to take a bit of beating herself. I thought Silencer might be the danger for the Hannons, simply because he's a very similar type of horse. Ran okay. Not sure the form of the Salisbury race is that good, but he did have a Rafe Beckett winner in behind him. He should step up on that. And the horse that ran a couple of days ago for Roger Fell, right down the bottom, I can't remember what it's called now, Shandy Star. Yeah. Shandy Star. I thought she is a very similar type. She improved last time. Only ran a couple of times ago, but she showed a lot more pace the other day, and I thought she could go well too. So I thought one of the maidens would win it, and I'm with Keep Bidding.
Okay, Keep Bidding then. Big chance for both our pundits at 9-2. I can't quite understand. Yeah, I thought Blatant was going to end up being a fairly warm favourite here after an eye-catching run in the Brocklesby, rock-solid form at Kempton and Chester, and then he was just that step up to 6 furlongs. I thought was a huge advantage for Blatant last time out. Looked a completely different horse, being able to settle over 6 out in front, drawn in 3 as well, obviously for the same connections that had such a good year with Chipotle. I thought Blatant now, I was expected to be sort of 7-2, 4-1. He's now up to 7-1, so I thought that might well be the each-way play. Now you two have snapped up the value of Keep Bidding. I'll take the value on Blatant, perhaps. So, David Stevens, Keep Bidding, 9-2 still, or have they snaffled it?
No, the 9-2 disappeared before Keels started talking, actually. It's been steadily back all afternoon, 4-1. Now 100-30 favourite. Commander Straker is out to 9-2. Blatant, you mentioned there, is out to 15-2. And the guys have made the case for Keep Bidding. Can't add to that. Drawn 4, drawn perfectly well. She gets all that weight. The winners don't look anything out of the ordinary. And a bit like Tom, I thought Silencer was potentially the danger. The Hannons have an excellent record in this race, and it's another one you'd expect to improve for the debut. So yeah, 130 favourite Keep Bidding. Price is only going one way. Are you going to make it a full house, Ross? Are we actually going to all agree?
Well, weren't you listening to him a minute ago, you dope? He's just tipped Blatant.
I know, but I thought he might want to change his mind now, Keels.
Absolutely not.
No, he wouldn't do that. He's a go it alone man, isn't he?
That's it. I am. I'm not quite as contrary as Tom, but I'm not sure I've met anyone who is. So I'm going with contrary. Plus, I'm dressed for tipping Blatant tonight, aren't I? So Blatant, Emily Upjohn double perhaps. But Blatant 7-1 for me, ruining the potential 4-timer. But Paul Kealy?
Yeah, I came down on the same too as Tom, but Keep Bidding, definitely the first one. Silencer did get loose beforehand at Salisbury as well, so might have lost a bit of energy there. So behaves herself, might be the danger.
Okay, so Keep Bidding for everyone but me. Blatant, I'll take them on with. At home, Legend of Xanadu for Blah Blah. And Keep Bidding for Warring Chef as well. And Jesus, good afternoon / evening to you. Estate wins with a little gold cup emoji. So well done for extra effort there, Jesus, as we move on to a red-hot handicap where Totally Charming heads the betting here at 6-1. 13-2, Oh This Is Us. Excel Power is 15-2. Fireworks is 9-1. Revich, 9-1. Fantastic Fox 10s with Corazon, Espinado and Carolus Magnus also at the same price. It's bigger price as the rest. We've got 60 runners rattling round an extended mile in this Class 2 handicap here, Tom. And it's 6-1 the field, albeit, I'll just have a look at the stats. Previous winners have a really good record in this, and often people try and take on the horses who just keep getting their head in front, and it can pay to just go with those who know how to win. So it's no surprise to see Totally Charming at the top of the betting, but there are, if you want to take it on, plenty who've caught the eye in decent handicaps so far this season, and this has probably been the plan.
Yeah, loads you could fancy in this. Be loads of pace. There always is at Epsom over a mile. I quite like Totally Charming, actually. I know he's got to prove that he acts on turf, but there's no reason why he shouldn't. His pedigree is all one of a turf horse. I was impressed with him at Lingfield last time. I thought, well, first of all, the market told you how strongly fancied he was. He was backed off the boards that day, and I fancied the second on a session, and he sort of beat him hollow, really, despite sort of racing around the outside a bit. I thought he's got massive upside in a race where quite a few old boys in there. You know, your Oh This Is Us's, your Coronado, Espinado, and all those ones. And I just thought he was beginning to become a price that I would back him at. Totally charming. When in the start of the week when he was 9-2 or stuff, I was thinking, oh, he's a bit short. I want to take him on. But then I watched the Lingfield race again, and I really liked it. I liked the way he was strong at the finish. I like his draw in stall 1. He might need a bit of luck, but often in these races they get quite spread out, especially with Coronado, Espinado in it, or whatever they're called. They tend to go really hard, and they can get quite spread out. He's got William Buick, stall 1. He's only had 6 runs. Good trainer, George Bowie. You know, obviously got to prove he likes the ground, and so I ended up on him, despite thinking that I wasn't going to be on him 2 days ago. I thought he'd be too short. He'd be one I wanted to take on. But the more I think about it, the more I think he's going to go really well. There's obviously, you can make cases for, oh, This Is Us. XL Power's clearly in good form. William Haggis wins all these valuable handicaps. Every time I turn on the telly, he's winning another one. So Fireworks has got to be on the list. And and Coronado, Espinado as well. It's, you know, fantastic. You can name loads. It's really, really wide open. But I thought if there's one horse that could win it easily, it would be Totally Charming. And I like horses that can win races easily. I'm not very good when I have to get my ruler out and the slide rule out and try and work out whether it's £5 better off for 3 lengths and all that kind of stuff. I don't tend to work that way. And so I'm looking for a horse that's got a bit of upside. And for me, the only one with massive upside in the race is Totally Charming. So that's where I went.
Totally Charming then at 6-1, who, like you said, all-weather form so far this season. But Turf run 4th behind Injazati last year for previous connections. The winner's rated 98 now. I mean, that's arguably one of the best pieces of form in the past 12 months in here anyway. So Totally Charming then, 6-1, the favourites for Tom.
Yeah, I've gone for the other horse that keeps winning, and that is XL Power, who surprisingly is sort of, you know, half in price again. Like, you know what I mean? It was 5 this morning, now 15-2. I don't really understand that. It's even bigger elsewhere. On a 4-timers, won 6 of 11 starts, won 5 of 8 when ridden by Holly Doyle. And it's 3 from 3 since going up to a mile. So plenty to like about him there. And the last 2 runs, he's won really easily. Now, he may have got an easy-ish lead last time at Windsor, but he was still going away when Holly Doyle had stopped riding. You know, and that's a sure sign of a horse who's still got plenty left, I think. And the other thing about this race, he's drawn 5. Now, he's a forward goer. Now, I know Tom says they go fast, but time and again, at Epsom, in races up to a mile, the pace stands up anyway.
Yeah, especially I think early on at a meeting almost. It's kind of before the jockeys have got into the rhythm.
Yeah, and the last 4 runnings of this, the winner was in first or second all the way.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and you know, one of them was Corazon Espinado. He does go like a bat out of hell, but still stayed there. Like, you know, so I'm hoping that'll be the case. The other potential pace setters all drawn on his outside. I think it's, you know, Carolus, Magnus, and Corazon. You know, they're drawn 11 and even wider. Corazon Espinado 16. Going to be a lot of, you know, there's going to be some hard luck stories in the race. There always is. I've got recent history with 2 horses that. Oh This Is Us, I thought should have gone much closer at Chester on Saturday than he did. Reevich probably should have won at Chester earlier on in May.
Yeah, he's the one I keep coming back to.
They're both course winners. They both handicapped well enough to win. I mean, Oh This Is Us is £20 lower now than he was after winning the Group 3 Diamond, was it, last year? Yeah. So, you know, they've both got great chances, but they're going to be ridden for luck. And quite often the ones that are ridden up front tend to stay there in this race. So I'll go with XL Power. I'm surprised he's got as big as he has.
Okay, XL Power then is a 15-2 shot. Totally Charming is a 6-1 shot. Yeah, I thought Revich was very interesting. I think every piece of his last 3, 4, maybe even 5 runs is rock solid. Even being beaten a long way in the Lincoln. It was a red hot Lincoln this year. So he's won his only start at the track. Corazon Espinado, 4 wins, 4 places from 10.
From the front.
From the front.
When he won. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be very. Yeah, it's a shame we can't tell you what's going to win after a furlong, isn't it?
Exactly.
Rather than the night before. But Totally Charming is a 6-1 favourite here at David Stevens. A horse named after, of course, Simon Clare.
He's actually a 5-1 favourite, and there's plenty of names he's been called, but never Charming. Revic is obviously written by Jim Crowley. He writes in his Coral blog that he thinks he's got a big chance. He was unlucky at Chester. Jim wasn't on board that day, but so he probably should have won that day. Oh, This Is Us. I mean, it's incredible. We just think how far he's come down based on previous form. Tom made obviously a really good case for Totally Charming, which is why he's been clipped in to 5-1. Paul's XL Power, Holly Doyle, big day for Holly, obviously, and she is the subject of our first price boost, actually. Will Holly ride a winner on Oaks Day? Of course, she's got a massive ride in the Oaks, 6-4 from 5-4. And I'd just give an each-way chance to Carolus Magnus, second to a good horse of Roger Varian's, whose name typically escapes me at this moment in time, but is only a 12-1 shot for the Hunt Cup. I think it could be a big day for Andrew Balding as well. So it's one you can make a case for half a dozen or more. Hence why we're going 5 places each way in this race.
Okay, second to Legend of Dubai, who's
That's
the
the one.
Varian horse you're thinking of, and the third Eileen Dove.
Won twice since,
Yeah, so that form looks pretty warm already. Holly Doyle to ride at least one winner at Epsom on Friday, 6-4 out from 5-4. Jesus thinks Carolus Magnus is also going to hack up as well. Off-World is on XL Power, and Andy McGugan is going for Fantastic Fox. But Keels, just reiterate the pick.
Yeah, XL Power.
Okay, Tom?
For me, Totally Charming.
Okay, very well. I'll go for Revic. And David?
Me and Jesus together on Carolus Magnus.
There you go. I always had you down as a biblical man. But we'll move on to the Coronation Cup. And that race to be previewing, of course, 3:10 at Epsom tomorrow. Pile Driver is 7-4 favourite here. Manobo 5-2. High Definition 4-1. Hookham is 9-2. Living Legend at 12-1. And Palabacino, the 100-1 outsider of the bunch. 6 of them going to post here for the Coronation Cup, which is one of those races in the calendar that gives fairly quirky horses potentially a chance to win a big pot. Given that the most successful sire in this race over the past 20 years is Monsieur, that probably tells you the kind of horses who turn up here. But Pile Driver, Keels, they've been a bit harsh saying about quirky horses.
I was asking Tom about Pile Driver. Must be one of his favourite horses, isn't it?
Yeah, he's almost the people's horse over the past couple of seasons, isn't he? Because he's putting it up to the big boys.
He's very good. He's got that funny way of going about him, but he still produces results, doesn't he? He still runs big races. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't argue about it being favourite. I'm not entirely convinced that the front two should be as short as they are in relation to the next two. I'm certainly not convinced that High Definition should be shorter than Hookham, so I came down on Hookham in the end. He was only 3/4 of a length behind Pile Driver in Dubai. Pile Driver had trap 1, he had trap 11. He's obviously a very, very consistent horse, at a decent level. It's probably not a proper Grade 1 horse, but he's a very useful horse, and I just thought he's just a little bit too big at 9-2. Yeah. In a race that's really tight, it would be minimum stakes fair for me.
I mean, he's going to run his race, don't you? He's like you said, he's not one of those ones that you think you've been thinking from day one, this could definitely be a Group 1 horse.
No, exactly.
He's earned his place.
He's won 7 out of 12 starts, isn't he? And he's got a best RPR of 120, which is borderline, Group 1 stages. He's officially £4 off Pile Driver.
And I mean, even last time out, it was the first time out he's finished out the front two in ages, and it was actually second best RPR in the past 12 months. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, it was a good deep Group 1 in Dubai, wasn't it? And again, like I said, he was on the outside. He was only 3/4 of a length beyond the current favourite here from a much worse draw. So yeah, just about interested in him. The one I think will blow out is probably High Definition, especially the more the ground dries out.
I mean,
who knows? It was a good run in the Tattersall's Gold Cup. You don't know, but
he looked a different horse, to be fair.
He did, yeah, he did. I'm not 100% sure about the return to 1.5 miles either, though. And the drier it gets, I think he'll struggle.
Okay, High
He looked a
Definition.
bit clumsy around the day last year, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's just clearly a strange horse.
Yes.
But we have seen strange horses put it all together a little bit later on. Maybe he's just he's one of those horses, High Definition. Tommy made such a big impact straight off the bat, but he was winning despite looking like he had no idea what was expected of him, and it's almost taken him a while to catch up with himself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't be as negative about him as Keels is. I thought he was much improved for a change of tactics last time. I don't understand Aidan O'Brien. I never will understand Aidan O'Brien. These horses go from looking hopeless to winning Group 1s or running close to Group 1s. St. Mark's Basilica's getting beaten 4 times as a juvenile, and now he looks like last year he looked like the best horse I'd ever seen. You know what I mean? And Snowfall can't win a 2-year-old race, and then she wins the Oaks by 15 lengths. I'll never understand it. So I'm never one to rule out I can't rule out High Definition, because just could take his form to a totally different level. Next time he seemed to enjoy front running I don't know what we're going to expect from him this time. I think he'll go really strong pace and hope to burn off all the others. But Keels pointed out, I'm a massive pile driver fan. I thought he should have won in Dubai. I thought Frankie gave him a shocker, if truth be told. Got trapped on the inside. He never got out. He never got serious with him. He was only beaten a length and a half. I'd love him to win. He's one of my favourite horses. I hope he wins. Whether he's a 7-4 shot, I don't know. You know, I sort of cottoned on to him because he was always too big a price. Every time he was winning, he was 12-14 to 1 at Royal Ascot. And in the Great Voltager, in this race last year, he was double figure prices. Now he's 7-4 to win it. Will I back him? No. Do I hope he wins? Most definitely, yes. Do I think he'll win? I think he probably will.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Then Pile Driver 7-4. Yeah, I guess again he's another one of those horses, David, that you can't put in at too big a price because these days because you've been stung before and he's become so popular now, and people are going to back him.
Yeah, and I mean, from a personal point of view, I'm more in the Tom camp than I'm the Keels camp. I thought he was unlucky or otherwise in Dubai, and I think he deserves to be favourite here. Obviously, won the race 12 months ago, beating Al Azi. Manobo, we haven't talked about him. He's been running over 2 miles in Dubai. He's dropping back. I mean, yeah, we all know he's a substitute for a Dayar who was originally sort of penciled in for this for Godolphin. I can understand why nobody's mentioned Manobo. I think dropping him back to a mile and a half, I can't see him being good enough, even though this isn't a vintage Group 1 by any standards. Living Legend, you can certainly give a chance to, of course. Won the Jockey Club Stakes, beating Yabir. He's big price now, 12 to 1, out from 9 to 1 this morning. But no great surprise, having spoken to Jim Brierley earlier, he's full of confidence on Huckham. He says obviously he owes Pile Drive 1 after Al Azi beat them in this race last year. And it's not the strongest of Group 1s. He's won his Group 2. He's won several Group 3s. If he is going to win a Group 1, I think this could be the day. And at the prices, I say, although I do think Pile Driver should be favourite, at the prices I would have to be with Huckham.
Huckham is a 9-2 shot for Jim Crowley. And yeah, worth mentioning that about Manobo, of course, given how strong the Appleby middle distance 3-year-olds were last year, be interesting to see how they go as 4-year-olds. And of course, Manobo is pretty much the first one to show his hand in that regard. Pile Driver is 7-4 favourite then for the Coronation Cup. Keels?
Yeah, Huckham for me, but only just.
Okay. Tom?
I won't have a bet in the race because I'm a big Pile Driver fan. I hope he wins.
Okay. David?
At the prices, small stakes, Huckham, but we do have another price boost on this. Frankie Dettori, only 2 rides tomorrow, both in the Group 1s. Can he make it a double? Wouldn't be the biggest shock of all. Was 5 to 1, now 13 to 2. So a Group 1 double for Frankie, 13 to 2.
Okay, 32 out from 5 to 1 then for Frankie to win the 2 Group 1s at Epsom on Friday. Of course, we'll get to the big one very shortly, but before we do, splitting the Coronation Cup and the Oaks is a 10 furlong handicap on the agenda with another big field, 50 grand in the pot to the winner, 4-team running, and an expensive purchase could win about half his sales price here today. Moctasab 100 to 30, Soto Sizzler 6 to 1, Royal Champion 9 to 1 with Cat Francais and Caradoc 10 to 1, Love Is Golden and Good Birthday 11 to 1, The City's Phantom, and bigger prices the rest here for this 14-runner race. Where Moctasab is now 2 from 2 since joining William Knight, 110,000 guineas this horse cost, and he's the unexposed 4-year-old who's done very little wrong. Similar-ish race to the previous handicap here, Tom. You've got a horse who keeps winning, who seems a reasonable price and has put in 2 rock-solid performances, up against proper Epsom horses like Soto Sizzler, who has never finished out of the front 2 here at the track.
Yeah, as you say, wide open handicap, plenty of pace again. Could easily set it up for a finish. I don't know. As Keel said, sometimes the pace holds up at this track. Moctasab's the right favourite, isn't he? He was impressive at Goodwood last time. Not 100% certain he'll confirm the form with Caradoc on £5 better terms. I think he's probably. I think he should be in front of him in the market, but I think he should be a lot closer together. Only thing, Caradoc's had the run since. Obviously, didn't get any luck at Nottingham back over a mile. I think this is his game, and he could easily finish over the top of them. I think Soto Sizzler's got a very solid chance. He was impressive in the City and Suburban, was it? Can't remember. Yep. Over course and distance. One I liked, and the one I've had a few quid on, is Love Is Golden for Mark Johnson. Very good record in these type of races, Mark Johnson. Never got out in the City and Suburban behind Soto Sizzler. Was trapped on the rail. William Buick, I think he was in stall 1. Never got out until the final half furlong, and then sort of shot through to finish 3rd. Had beaten a long way, but a bit better off at the weights. And then at York last time, I was really impressed. chased a really strong pace. The ones he raced around all finished out the back of the telly with the ambulance. The two that beat him, Bolin Joan and Rogue, whatever it's called, of Tom Clovers, who was unlucky in the Lincoln, came from miles back. Bolin Joan's gone in again. They were 6.5 lengths in front of the fourth horse. I think he's got Epsom form. He's got Franny Norton. He's got a decent draw. As long as he doesn't get embroiled in a battle for the lead, I think he's well handicapped off 87. I think he was about 16 to 1 shot a few minutes ago. I see he's only 10 to 1 there, which is probably about where he should be. But he was the one I like. But there's plenty you can make a case for. Of the others, I would definitely, you can't rule out Moctasab, but I thought Soto Sizzler and Caradoc would have been my other two in the race, but they're pretty obvious.
Okay, Love is Golden then, one of the youngsters of the field. Traditionally won by the past 10 years or so, 4 or 5 year olds, but there are quite a lot of old boys taking chunks out of the market, the likes of Soto Sizzler and Cap Francais and Caradoc. But yeah, Love is Golden. And Mark Johnston, Charlie and Mark Johnston, of course, he's just one of those handicappers that run themselves into form, like Forrest Falcon did, who last time we were on, I was all over him for Newmarket. Nice to see him bolt up in the Zetland Gold Cup today.
Yeah, I've backed him a few times.
Yeah, he's. But that's your Johnson horse, isn't it? That's your Johnson handicap.
Johnson handicap. It almost worries you when they run too well when you want to back them the next time, doesn't it?
Yeah. Boys, it's quite interesting, wasn't it? Because Forrest Falcon was in this race, wasn't he? And so they've obviously split them. I don't know which more expensive, but probably this one's more valuable. So I would have thought Mark Johnson would have run his. Thought this one had a better chance there.
Yeah, I mean, he's won this a few times, hasn't he? Sky Defender won it a couple of years ago, didn't he? One thing I'd say then, Caradoc was £2 higher than 2 years ago, and he rattled down the centre of the track, finished 6th. But there was no pace pressure at all there. Sky Defender made all. And there's loads. There's loads here. I mean, Bad Company, for instance, he's the one that helped set it up for the closers in the city in Suburban. Yeah. They all came from miles off the place. Now, Love is Golden would have been, may well have been unlucky there. Soto Sizzler.
You're going to have the City's Phantom, you're going to have some Victory Chime up there as well.
Chime, yeah, exactly. There's plenty of pace in here, so I think they're going to go hard. So I will be looking for something to come from the back. And the one I came down on was Caradoc. I don't think he was particularly suited to the way the Goodwood race was run when he was second to Moctasab. I'm not saying that he would have beat him in any other way, but he's £5 better off for 11.25. And I think every run this year, a bit like you were saying about the horse and the handicap in the other race, he's just looked like he's on really good terms with himself. Yeah. Like, he's run well all 3 times. Okay, only 4th of 6 last time to Dark Shift at Nottingham, but he would undoubtedly have finished second with any sort of run. Night Shift's just about favourite or one of the favourites for the Hunt Cup. And I think deservedly so. He's not really a miler even though, and he really did pick up. So I see him charging down late and at a much bigger price. Quite interested in R-Cube. I think he's one of those that's been completely ignored because he's been running in Bahrain. And no one knows anything about the form, but he actually ran,
I watch all the replays about him every weekend.
Exactly, yeah. Actually, he ran, 4 of his 5 starts out there, he actually ran really well. And the form worked out well enough for him to be bumped up £4 by the handicapper. He does all his best work late, so he's going to be suited by the way the races run. And I thought, horse, he's a 4-year-old who's on the up. I mean, one thing is there aren't that many 4-year-olds in this race, is there? You know what I mean? You'd probably expect more normally, but I think, we're getting to the stage where loads of them are getting sold, aren't we? And we're going to have more exposed horses.
There's Royal Ascot round the corner.
Yeah, and of course there's Royal Ascot round the corner. Yeah. But yeah, I think, I don't worry about an outside draw when a horse is going to be held up anyway, because they're going to have to plot their way through horses. But I think he's going to run a big race if things drop right for him. He will finish well, and he's got some upside to him at a big price.
Okay. And Caradoc is in at 91. That's the main pick for Keels, for Ed Walker, of course. Has been in very good form with a Group 1 winner at Longchamp earlier on in the week. But Moctasab 100-30, I imagine there'll be some totally charming Moctasab in form, each way double thievery going on in these handicaps, David Stevens, and you'll be hoping that doesn't come off of course. But any money for anything, any price boosts, any extra places? What have you got up your sleeve?
We have 4 places, the big mover, and it was again before Tom started speaking, but his backers were clearly on. Love is Golden is now down to 6 to 1. It's gone 10 to 1, 15 to 2, 6 to 1. That is the power of Segal, of course, moving that one. I just thought Moctasab was a worthy favourite. I'm not sure another £5 rise is going to be enough to stop him again here. I'm certainly hoping that's the case. Love is Golden was the other one on my list. That's not the reason the price has collapsed. That is all down to the other man at home here tonight.
Okay. In your house or his? Who are you in with tonight? But Mock to Sab, 130 favourite then for the 345 here at Epsom. Keels, what are you going with?
Yeah, I'm back to Caradoc and Arcube.
Okay. Tom?
Yeah, I'm disappointed with the price. I think 6 to 1's plenty short enough for a horse that's been well beaten on all his starts, although he ran really well last time. But yeah, love is golden for me, for sure.
David Stevens?
Just a quick one on Paul's other ones, a 22 to 1 shot currently Arcube, but I'm going to stick unoriginally with the favourite.
Very well. And I am going to not have a bet. Because that's the choice, of course. Please gamble responsibly. You have to bet in every single race. That's a 345 at Epsom then, which is, of course, the precursor to the big one tomorrow. The Oaks with a very warm favourite indeed in the shape of Emily Upjohn at 6 to 5. 3 from 3 so far for Gosden and Dettori, of course. No surprise to see her very popular indeed, but she does have a big rival in her own stable in the shape of Nashua at 4 to 1. Then you've got the Ballydoyle Battalions in the shape of Tuesday and Concert Hall, both in at 9 to 1. The boys in blue, of course, have won both the classics domestically so far this season, and with the Moonlight is in at 11 to 1 as well. Tranquil Lady for Joseph O'Brien, who won the French Oaks, of course, earlier on in the week. 12 to 1 Tranquil Lady, 14 to 1 Thoughts of June. Won at Chester in a race it's worked out quite nicely. Rogue Millennium 25s for Tom Clover. And then we've got Moon de Vega, Kawida and the Algarve in there as well. Where he might well be, if we can tempt David into putting his hand in the pocket, maybe we'll do the Ascot previews from the Algarve, who knows. Social poll, who's going to win the Epsom Oaks? Emily Upjohn, 46%, Nashua, 24%, Tuesday, 7%, and other, 21%. So plenty of opinions out there. 21% of you think that it's not going to be one of the front two in the market. I'll come to you first, Tom, because we've got two very impressive Gosden winners with slightly different profiles. And then you've got two, like you said, classic O'Brien horses who you're expecting the improvement. You don't quite know where it's going to come from. It's there in the pedigree. It's not necessarily on track, but it wasn't there on track for Snowfall either, was it? And she absolutely hacked up last year. So, and that's just the front four in the market. This is a nice little race.
Yeah, proper classic, isn't it? Loads of horses that have won their trials, loads of horses, loads of ones by their name. It's as it should be. I think I'm probably going against Keels here, but I do think that the Gosdens have it are going to be hard to beat. I do. I mean, I know on form they haven't done it, but I've been really impressed with both of them. Personally, I'm in the Nashua camp. I thought she was mightily impressive at Newbury. I know the form might not be up to much, but it's really hard to come from last to first quickly. She's got to be very good. She did it in a furlong. She went past some decent fillies in a furlong. I think she's really good. The question is whether she's going to stay 1.5 miles. On pedigree, she should. She's by Fankel, and her brother Luganini stayed at least 12 furlongs. I just think she's the filly that could be seriously special. I know they think that Emily Upjohn's the one. A little bit worried about her pulling a bit hard. He'll have the red hood on to start, and if he can settle her and all those sort of things. He's compared her to Tagruda. Well, if she's Tagruda, she'll win this easily because Tagruda was one of the best fillies for many years, I thought, when she won the Oaks. But I think it's wide. I think there's plenty others you can give a case for. Concert Hall, for example, was typical Aidan O'Brien, ran in the Irish Guineas, up in trip. Will she stay 12 furlongs? I'm I don't know. I'm not sure she's quite in the class of the other two anyway. You've got Tranquil Lady, who's a definite stayer, and Thoughts of June. They're the ones that could win if it turns into a slog. If stamina is the key, Tranquil Lady and Thoughts of June are very much in the equation. If class is the key, I don't think they'll be able to run fast enough. But if stamina's the key, those two come into it big time. Personally, I think the Colston fillies will be too good for them. I often think as well that we get a little bit drawn into stamina in these races. Then more often than not, they're won by class. And I think the two of them might be just a little bit better. But if it does turn into a slogging race, if it does turn into a race where, stamina is key, then Tranquil Lady and Thoughts of June are big prices. But I'm in the Nashua camp.
Nashua it is then at 4 to 1. For the Gosden team, and like you said, very interesting pedigree. I mean, Luganini stayed 1.5 miles in horrible ground as well, so on pedigree she should be fine. Emily Upjohn though has absolutely bolted up twice this season. An RPR of 106 in a Sandown novice was something fairly remarkable, given that Concert Hall, I think it is, or Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday ran to 106, being beaten into second in a Group 1. So Emily Upjohn's clearly special.
Yeah, she is. But I question big figures in maiden and novice form.
Yeah,
Like,
I think you get carried away.
I think you have to. Listen, I don't know. She's got the right connections. They think an awful lot of her. She's won by wide margins, and there's not a lot not to like except the price because end of the day she's run in 3 races. She hasn't run against a single filly that's got any listed or group race form at all. Or had any at that stage. And she's in here against 2 horses who've been classic placed against 6 other trial winners.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a little bit more open than that in my head. I mean, if you listen to what they say about her, she'll win.
Yeah. And there's some real scope there for her as well,
of course there is, yeah. But I mean, all these horses are still improving, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they've still got the potential. So I'm quite prepared to see her dot up. I'm quite prepared to see Natural dot up as well. But I just thought, given the prices they are, I'm going to have a crack at something else. And well, both Tuesday and Concert Hall, they both got recent Oaks winners in their pedigrees, haven't they? Tuesday's a sister of mine, and Concert Hall's is out of Was. So they've all got the pedigree. But I have backed Tranquil Lady each way. I just thought she was the most overpriced of the ones for an each way bet by Derby winner Australia, improved all 3 starts last year. Bit disappointed first time up behind Concert Hall, but Joseph O'Brien said he didn't know why, but she certainly put that to bed when she won the Group 3 Blue Win next time. She won it pretty easily. Yeah. She was always travelling well.
And she improved about 2 stone for a run last year, so it might well be that she just takes
that.
Yeah,
exactly. She might just take that. Yeah. She might just come on a bit. I just thought she was a little bit overpriced. Tom Marcon's been booked. Rode Galileo Chrome to win the Ledger for Joseph O'Brien a couple of years ago. I think she'll go well. I'm not sure Trap 3 is particularly good, but it's not like we've got 18 runners, is it? So I just give that one each way. Quite, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Emily Upjohn and Nashra finish first and second. But if you ask me what I was going to do, I'd be laying them and backing Tranquil Lady each way.
Okay, Tranquil Lady each way then, a 12-1 shot. 2013, the last time someone that wasn't Aidan O'Brien or John Gosden won this race. We should mention the O'Brien horse, have a little bit closer look at that. I did think Concert Hall was very interesting. Similar sort of profile to Snowfall last year, and it's the Fillies Mile. Horses beaten in the Fillies Mile from Ballydoyle. It's almost as if that's their prep almost for future mile and a half Group 1s. Snowfall and Love both were beaten in that, of course. Magical and Hydrangea won Group 1s over a mile and a half after being beaten in that, and it's already working out pretty well.
She's already won 10 furlongs as well, hasn't she?
Yeah. And what I liked about that win over 10 furlongs was that she extricated herself from a bit of a mess. I know she didn't win by very far, but I thought, well, if you've got that kind of track craft there, that's going to help you here, isn't it?
Of course, yeah, definitely.
So I thought Concert Hall was a little bit interesting. Tuesday, of course, bred Tom to be a mile and a half horse, like you said, closely related to minding, but hasn't looked it necessarily on the track. And you are a man who goes with the eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I just not convinced by her. I didn't think she didn't do much in the last furlong for me at the Curragh last time. I think she might not even be 3 yet or something, isn't there? She's a very late foal. I think might have only just been 3 the other day or something.
Tomorrow she's 3, yeah. So it could be a birthday winner for her.
A birthday winner. It's quite hard to, it's a big disadvantage, isn't it? She could be 6 months behind some of these in terms of her development. We're always talking about these horses being very young, very improving. If she's, 6 months younger, I know that, all those kids at school whose birthdays are in August, I always thought were a massive disadvantage over those that were born in September.
Yeah, you've read that study as well. They did a study on ice hockey players, didn't they? And sort of like 90% of professional ice hockey players were born in September just because they were physically bigger from everyone else. So there you go. You weren't expecting that reference, were you?
There's got to be some truth in it, isn't there? I mean, you look at.
When were you born, Tom?
I was born in July. I'm a youngster, which explains a lot.
That's why you never made it on the track, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it, Ross. Nothing to do with the fact that I was 15 stone and slow. So I'm against her. I get the Colson Hall fan. I'm not sure she's going to stay. I do Bowie. I know she's out of Was. Didn't think she rocketed home when she won her trial. She only just held on from Magical Lagoon. I think she's going to improve, and she probably will stay. But I thought the two at the top might have the class edge, and if you're looking for solid ones, I thought Thoughts of June could go well. I really did. I thought she'd make the running, and I don't think she was as flattered by her defeat of Above the Curve as people made out. I thought I don't think the other thing was ever going to get past her. And while that wasn't a great race, the St. Allery that Above the Curve won the other day, it wasn't hardly a negative for Thoughts of June's chance. And I thought she might be the one she might do the jet ski lady for all those old people out there against the, she might be the one to do the jet ski lady if something could do that. But I'm in the Nashwa camp. I think she's really good.
Okay. Well, I'll come to you, David, for a second, then we'll maybe mention a couple of others, because there's some fairly decent chances that we haven't even mentioned at big prices. But talk to us about how the market's reacted. Obviously, as soon as Emily Upjohn bolted up at York, I mean, she was already popular, of course. They were already talking Oaks for her. But Musidora thrown up, I think it's 4 winners in the past 20 years. The Irish 1000 Guineas 4 winners. They're your two best trials. But so it was no surprise to see her be very, very popular. And she's 6-5, and there has been money for Nashwa, probably led by Tom Segal in his column the other day and his comments on tonight's show as well.
Yeah, I mean, they've both been steadily backed. Emily Upjohn was trading odds on earlier in the week, but as we got closer, she's now odds against. 3 from 3, it seems almost churlish to crab her, but she is, as Frankie himself described her at York, she is a big unit, and there has to be a question mark about her going around Tapton Corner. And also, she did pull very hard early on at York. Again, they wouldn't want a repeat of that. But she might just be good enough, as Tom said, if they've compared her to Garuda, if she's in that class, then, yeah, she should go and win this. Nashwa has looked pretty special in her 2 starts as well. Albeit, again, you can pick holes in the form at this stage, but this is where we find out how good they are, of course. You've got the winners of all the trials in here. I think it's a terrific Oaks in prospect. Of the Ballydor runners, don't be put off by Tuesday or Consul running in the Irish 1000, which comes relatively quickly. Before this, 4 of Aidan's previous Oaks winners all ran in that Irish 1000, sorry. So I thought Tuesday was the one. Actually, I know drawn 1's obviously a big negative, but Ryan Moore on board, you've got to assume he had some sort of choice for that. 9-1 Thoughts of June, again, the form was franked by Above the Curve in France at the weekend. The prize Rogue Millennium looked good when winning at Lingfield, deserves to take her chance. And Kawida, at a massive price, beat the Godolphin horse with the Moonlight a couple of times last year. I say he's in there at 66 to 1. I think it's a really, really good race. And a couple of price boosts on this one, depending on which camp you're in. If you're in the Gosden camp, you can have 3 to 1 from 9 to 4 that John Gosden has a 1-2, or John and Thady Gosden, I should say, in either order. But if you're in the Aidan O'Brien camp, you can have 7 to 2 that Aidan O'Brien wins the Oaks again from 3 to 1. So a couple of price boosts on this Cazoo Oaks.
Okay, a couple of price boosts then for the Oaks. Emily Upjohn is a 6-5 favourite here, but they're your price boots. Price boots. Emily Upjohn and Nashwa to finish first and second. 3 to 1 out from 9 to 4. And similar bet for the O'Brien pair there. 7 to 2 out. Aidan O'Brien to train the winner. It was, of course, of the Oaks. 7 to 2 out from 3 to 1. Quick mention for 2 others we haven't really talked about. Keels. One's with the Moonlight, of course, given the Appleby domination so far of the 3-year-old races.
Pretty poly, didn't she? Well, very, very easily.
Again, on paper, it didn't look a great race, but you could say that about every other trial.
Related to Dream Castle, he was a bit of a miler.
Yeah. There's not a lot of stamina in there.
Well, you've got to bank on the Frankel factor, haven't you, really? He does get loads of stayers, doesn't he? But I mean, there must be a doubt about the trip on that.
The one I wanted to throw to you was obviously Tom said about he thought the second in that Chester race maybe was overplayed, but Moon de Vega.
Well, she was going really, really well and just got chopped up. No, it's just
and the second went, and she just stood there on the rail because she didn't have any room.
Yeah, exactly. She had no room. She didn't go anywhere. I don't know how much ground she was making, but I don't actually know how much she was asked to make by then as well. So, she goes in there unexposed. Rafe Beckett has won this with outsiders before. She could be a lot better than that one. She obviously is a fair bit better than that one because she wasn't given the chance to show her best. But
he's just one of those trainers that I can never imagine Rafe Beckett going, we'll have a crack. If they're not good enough, they're not here.
Yeah, he does know. And I know Tom was worried about the 2-year-old earlier in the show that he's got, and he said worried about the price and all that. Well, all race Beckett's owners are too rich to bother betting. You know what I mean? So don't worry about that. I mean, if you look at his P&L for,
I remember back in one of
the
one at the listed race at Doncaster back end of last season, it was sort of 8-1 in the tissue, 12-1 in the morning, and one at 25.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You just don't worry about it.
Okay, there we go. Plenty of opinions then from the panel for the Oaks. Jesus thinks Tuesday will win, Nashua will finish second, and Emily Upjohn will finish third. As for the others, what have we got here? Prometheus. Kawida beat Moonlight by 2 lengths last season, and she's 66-1, while Moonlight is 12-1. Trevor Meeks is going with Rogue Millennium 6 places, fair enough. Alan Keen's also got a bit of Kawida 66-1 each way. Paul Ferguson fancies Nashua. Damon Moffat says Emily Upjohn is too short, and Tom Leach thinks she pulls too hard. Tom Leach is on Moon de Vega at 66s, anti-post. For the Oaks as well. Matthew James, breeding is everything in these races, and he is going for Tuesday. 2022 Cazoo Oaks, Paul Kealy, what are you playing?
I've had a few good each way on Tranquil Lady just to try and get the front two deep.
Okay, Tom Segal?
I think Class will out, so I think Gosden will win it. I'm hoping Nashua wins for Holly Doyle.
Okay, David Stevens?
For the second time tonight, I'm with Jesus. Tuesday for me.
There you go. You're a convert, and I will go with Concert Hall to stay on stoutly down the middle of the track and probably finish second to Emily Upjohn. But fingers crossed, she can cause a bit of an upset. That's the Oaks then. Better luck if you're playing in the feature race tomorrow. 2 more races to go through at Epsom, and like I said, the Poundland Surrey Stakes. There we go for this listed contest. The 3-year-old race over 7 furlongs. Oscular, who won last year's Woodcut, is 7-4. Dawn of Liberation is 7-4. Ever Given 130. Honey Sweet 16-1. Star From Afar 18-1. Base Player 18-1. Mid Heaven is 40-1. The Poundland Surrey Stakes. Then I'll go to the. Who should I go to first? I'll go to the Poundland Tom Segal. It's Paul Kealy.
I ain't got an answer to that. Brilliant. Yes, Oscula was the one for me. I mean, it's a 3-horse race between her, Dawn of Liberation, and Ever Given, who I know you like. She thrashed Flaming Rib in the Woodcut last year, and she was just super consistent without actually any getting better in her last 4 or 5 runs. But she won a Group 2 at Deauville, beating Zelly, who went on to win the Marcel Boussac. She was third in that. She was third in the Rockfell. She was third, close up third at another French Group 2. Ignore that run in Riyadh. That was on dirt, tailed off. Don't worry about that at all. She'd be fine back on turf. I think she'll go close, but I mean, it is a little bit of a tight 3-runner race the way I'm looking at it.
Albeit, like I said, the draw's right, the trip's right, the track's right. There's
there's plenty of pluses for her. Yeah.
Okay, Oscar then is a 7-4 shot, but I did think Ever Given had a bit of a squeak, given the prices as well. Tom, again, talking about putting lines through runs. I would put a line through that run last time out. 6 furlongs of soft ground at Chester, 6.5 at Doncaster. I get the feeling this horse is just crying out for that little bit of extra stamina.
Yeah, I agree with you. The thing about Oscula is she's not beaten a horse in the last 2 starts. Now, there have clearly been plenty of excuses, but I don't like backing horses at 13 to 8 that haven't beaten a horse in the last 2 starts. Now, as Keel says, one was in dirt, one was at the end of a long, hard season, and she's got Epsom form, she's got Trap 1, she's got William Buick, she's got George Bowie, she's got the best form. Plenty short enough for me. I think she's if she's back to anything like her best, I think she'll win. But I can't back her on the back of that. And as Keel says, I think it's a 3-horse race. I can't see any of the outsiders winning. So if that's the case, you've got to be with Ever Given at 100 to 30, really. As you say, I think he will like the step up in trip. I thought he was impressive at Chester, wasn't he? Hugo Palmer's got a few horses sort of around the same level, hasn't he? And I think he thinks Ever Given's right up there with the likes of Flaming Rib and stuff. So I give him a chance at 100 to 30. I wouldn't actually be having a bet in the race. I didn't love Dawn of Liberation, but he won last time, didn't he, in a decent time, and so he's right in there. But for me, it'd be Ever Given, but it's not a race I've paid too much attention to.
Okay, I'll also go with Ever Given. David Stevens, anything of interest?
Well, firstly, thank you for not calling me the Poundland Simon Clare. That's much appreciated.
You're the more than 99p shop, Simon Clare, aren't you?
Thank you. Dawn of Liberation, I thought he won well at Goodwood last time, was out of his depth in the field, but this isn't obviously anywhere near that level. And won well at Goodwood last time. Back to 7 furlongs, shouldn't inconvenience him.
Okay, the Surrey Stakes then. Keels?
Yeah, Oscar for me.
Okay.
I think, but again, Tom says don't like backing 13 or 8 shots. You don't beat many horses. I don't like backing 13 or 8 shots. So
Yeah.
simple as that. I'll probably just sit it out.
Okay. I'll have a little tickle on Ever Given. Tom?
Yeah, I'll be with Ever Given, but like yours, it's not a race I've paid too much attention to.
Okay, very well. Let's go on to the final race then, the 5:45 at Epsom. 16 runners, 7 furlongs, 0 to 100, and again 30 grand on the table for the winner. Another very competitive handicap. The favourite though, Salim, is drawn out in box 12, and it's a 7-2 shot for Simon and Ed Crisford, and Harry Burns taking off a very valuable £5. There we go. There's the back end of the market, and. Yep, okay, and I'll have a look at the rest of the market then. There we go, and we're back to the front of the market. Lovely stuff, thanks producers. There'll be a curveball at the end there. Nuvolari 9-2, Top Secret 6-1, Darkness 13-2, Orban is 17-2, Pocket the Profit 9s, and 10-1 and bigger the rest. Tom Segal, we had a 3-year-old win this race last year. Nuvolari was a fairly warm favourite earlier on for Eve Johnson Horton, but Salim has been very heavily backed. Do you have anything to do with this?
No, nothing to do. I mean, it's not a race I would do, but I don't quite get it. I've been a big Salim fan all season. I was really disappointed with him at Newbury. I thought he ran a cracker in the Lincoln, and I thought coming on the back of that he'd have a great chance in the Spring Mile, but he did nothing at all off the bridle, I thought. And then last time, it was a perfectly reasonable effort at Newmarket, but does it allow him to be 7-2 from trap 12 and an Epsom handicap? I didn't really think so. I think he'll run well. Do I think he's especially well handicapped? I'm not sure. Nuvolari, I don't know. I'm a bit worried about. I know he's won here. He won here as a 2-year-old. I'm a bit worried about him just getting a bit behind over 7 furlongs round here. I like Top Secret for the Muirs. I'm hoping they're going to have it for William Muir and Chris Grassick. I hope they're going to have a really good day. I was impressed with him at Newbury the other day. I thought he was really unlucky just to get collared on the line. I think the track will suit him perfectly well. I think he's got the right run style. Yeah, he'll do for me. Top Secret. You could throw in Orban as well as a horse that is incredibly well handicapped. He was unlucky at York the other day, but I do think that York and straight tracks are his gap.
He's unlucky every single time he runs.
But he's got to win the race someday, him, isn't he? I mean, we saw that the other day with Escobar came back and.
Yeah. It's a snazzy jazzy one today, so they come back eventually.
He'll gag up on soft ground at some point, won't he? He'll just everything else will stop in front of him, and that'll be it. He'll just come cruising through.
Back end at York or something.
Yeah.
But
you never know. One of these races will fall into his lap. He's definitely enough to win it. I'm with Top Secret, but I think it's wide open, as you would expect. 16 runners round Epsom.
Okay, Top Secret then, who's really improved since switching from Clive Cox, and he's a 5-year-old, but might have a bit more.
Yeah, he won't want to miss the break like he did at Newbury. He'll get away with it there, but he doesn't always. I mean, the last time he won a race, he made the running. I'd be hoping that they do that with him, and I think that's why there's been a bit of a run on Salim, because he hasn't made the run in his last 2 starts, but he pretty much did so in the Lincoln, and I'm thinking, well, maybe to think, well, hang on a minute, he could be the one to put the pace to the race, because there is very little pace in here, and on 7 furlongs the pace does hold up. So I mean, if I was William Muir and Chris Grassick, I would be saying to Holly Doyle, make sure you get a prominent early position, because you're inside a horse that might make the run in Salim. But I think whatever's near the front, I can't see how this is going to be a really, really fast run race. Even despite the size of the field, there's going to be loads of tugging in behind. A million hard luck stories. Get somewhere near that front. And that's why I think there's been money for Salim, because I think they might just revert to those tactics, knowing that he didn't actually find as much as you might have expected from behind.
Very well. Okay, final race.
But I agree with Top Secret.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough.
That was the one I'd come down on.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. You kept that Top Secret to the end then. David Stevens, wrap us up with this 5:45.
Yeah, well, in agreement as we started. Top Secret here for me. I thought unlucky last time at Newbury. The drop back to 7 certainly won't inconvenience, and say could be a massive day for Holly Doyle. I just go back to your thing there on Orban. You said that with the feeling of a man that has backed Orban on far too many occasions, but just can't stop yourself doing it.
Yeah, but I have stopped myself doing it now. So tomorrow is probably the day, isn't it? But in my mind, it's always that back end mile handicap at Ascot in terrible ground or something like that. But painful stuff. But right, anyway, shall we wrap up? Should we wrap up with the naps? I think that's the best place to end the evening, isn't it? What is the nap of the day at Epsom on day one? Starting off with you, Paul Kealy.
I'm going to go 235 and XL Power. Just surprised me how much he drifted.
Okay, XL Power then in the 235 for Keels. Tom?
Keep bidding in the first race. I think she'll win.
Okay, keep bidding it is. David Stevens, nap from you?
It is top secret in the last there for me. And just a quick shout out for our beaten by a length offer. If your horse is beaten by up to a length, you will get, that's at all Epsom races tomorrow, you'll get your money back as a free bet up to a tenner.
Lovely stuff. And I will go with Ever Given in the Poundland Surrey Stakes. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow night for a look at the Derby and the supporting card, of course, at Epsom. But gamble responsibly and also, I guess, drink responsibly, given you've got two bank holidays as well to add on to the weekend.
Steady on, old chap.
That goes for you, Paul Kealy. Thanks for tuning in, everyone watching at home. See you back here tomorrow night. This has been In the Know. Have a good night.